How'd you get such a nice ass? Literally. Like, literally.
I need a lot
when
of
you
food.
get your little surgery, can I have some of your injections, please? Because I need some. Hi. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vice Review, and today, bitch, y'all ain't even ready. Y'all better buckle up. We have a very special guest joining the Vice Review today. Y'all give a round of applause for the shot queen herself, the one, the only, Miss Maggot. Yes! Come the fuck through, bitch. Fucking work, living. Come the fuck through. Round of applause, everybody. Yes, bitch, work. Come on, Brooke. Thank you so much for being here today. First and foremost, give me a hug. Give me a hug, bitch. Quit playing. Okay, Maggot, so tell me, how did you come up with your name? Like, how did you discover that?
So originally, when I first performed, probably for about 5 or 6 months, I was Kate's Bush. So it was like, kind of like a pun. It was more like comedy based. When I started, the look was a little less important and it was more like the wacky performances. When I finally kind of more enveloped and decided like what the vision of Maggot would be and what she looked like, I started to think, oh, well, the comedy name like maybe doesn't fit as much. So I wanted something that was like a singular word, kind of like Madonna.
Okay.
And I also wanted something that was kind of like spooky and like kind of like throws you off at first
edgy,
when you hear it.
Little edge.
Yeah, very edgy.
Okay.
So I was thinking about like a slur, so it went from to Maggot, and then so I love this idea that it's like gross and dark and spooky, but it's also like kind of like there's a discomfort in engaging with the name, kind of. Sometimes.
Okay. What you give me is kind of spook factor drag. So is that kind of what you're explaining? Like your name? I think you kind of wanted something edgy, a little more, not something like Kitty Periwinkle sprinkled or some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you want it to be a badass bitch. I get that. I get that. That's cute. Have you always been from Lubbock? Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from East Texas originally, and then I started drag when I went to Denton. So kind of UNT. I was performing at
she's a college girl. You're a college girl. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cheers to college.
Cheers.
Not really, but.
I started there, and then I moved back home, back to East Texas for a long time. So I performed for a bit, and then there was a gap of years where I like was still getting into drag, but I didn't have anywhere to perform. The closest place was like 2 hours away in Dallas, and it just like it wasn't feasible with like finishing school somewhere else. So I like spent a long time doing drag like in video form and making kind of like pictures and videos and doing it that way. And then I came to grad school a year ago to Tech, and I kind of immediately got involved in the drag scene here, and I've been immersed
ever since. Yes. Period. I love that for you. Cheers on that. Come through. What were your thoughts on like when you first stepped out in the Lubbock or Texas drag community? So
when I started in Dallas, it was very different than being here in Lubbock. It was like 2016-ish. The girls weren't really liking what I was serving. It was like hard to get booked. It didn't feel like I was like well liked. It didn't feel
like that though.
Yeah,
be like that.
That was like the last time I had worked in like in a scene. So coming to Lubbock, I was kind of expecting like worse than Dallas. Like it was gonna be like an uphill battle the whole way.
Really? You really did?
I was surprised. Like it was. Everyone was so nice, so accepting. They kind of like got it immediately and let me do whatever. And I've been like very, very surprised. I mean, obviously there's limits of what I can do at the club, but they've let me push a lot of limits that I don't think I would have been able to when I was younger.
Iconic. Okay. So if you could describe to the audience or to somebody that you first met, like how would you describe your drag to them? What does it represent? What are you trying to convey through your performances?
I would say it's definitely very melodramatic.
Okay.
I love dramatics. I love hysterics. Being someone who's had like mental health issues my whole life when I was younger. The only images of people who had mental health I was like able to see and identify with was like people who were deemed as like crazy or like crazy women and people who were kind of like in hysterics. And so Maggot has always been about like exercising these emotions by performing this like caricature of hysterics. Like everything is very dramatic, very bloody. but it's also kind of like sexy and desperate. And I think that is one of the things that I'm most interested in with people, is like providing some kind of like catharsis through what I do.
Who was your first, like, who were you glued to the screen when you first saw as, like, growing up? Who made you want to be Maggot?
Definitely. So, I mean, I've come from the time of Lady Gaga, so I
Don't
think
play
that
bitch.
any drag queen from the last like 10, 12 years, she has to have some kind of influence, or like you've brushed up against like, what she does and the aesthetic that she brings.
Okay.
But I'd say outside of Gaga, my biggest one when I was younger was Madonna. I am like a Madonna completionist. I don't just love pop Madonna, I love all Madonna. The reinvention is so successful, and I feel like that's so uncommon. Is so many artists have these like clunky little periods of their career. They kind of fall off for a while. But every kind of cycle that she's gone through, I've like, it's a 10 out of 10 on everyone.
Okay. What's your favorite era of Madonna?
Yes. I would say...
If you had to go to sleep at 1 at night, in a casket, deceased, what era are you going to sleep with?
I think for years of my life, I would have said Ray of Light. And I think that is my favorite album from her.
Okay, period.
I think truly aesthetic-wise, Erotica. I think that it's her best work visually. It's very... it's sexy and subversive whenever I think that was like still working for her.
Okay, is that the one that Bedtime Stories is on?
That's the album before, after, I can't remember, but they kind of bleed into each other. The aesthetic is the same.
Shit. Okay, gotcha.
It's like her R&B trip hop.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think of like Madonna's look now? Like her new, like, I love it. I'm a fan of all that shit. Yeah. So I love that like fierce ass, like cat ass look, like plastic surgery. I'm all here for it. So what do you think of that? Yeah. Like, are you living like?
I think halfway. I think it's very interesting that I think that a lot of people maybe who are big fans of her would have expected her to like go the opposite direction and kind of like age gracefully, embrace her kind of age and sexuality and embrace that. I don't know, this like hyper youth fixation that she has. This it's like bimbofication that she's going through. It's very crazy, very fun.
It is, and I love that shit because it's like, wait, what the fuck am I looking at? But like you're intrigued by it, and I'm the same. I love that shit too, so I'm here for your shit. So why do you continue to do drag? What inspires you to continue to keep going?
I would say for me, drag is like, it's something kind of like deeply religious. Like, I'm not religious in the sense of like Christianity or any of that, but like for me, drag is like this religious thing where I go to the drag church every weekend, and I have to do this. I have to have my body represented in this way once a week. Like I don't know. It feels like something that is like attached to like my life force and my ability to move through the world.
It's part of you. What I always say, I really say this, like, when I do drag, I'm not doing drag. I'm literally becoming me. Exactly. I'm becoming me. Is that how you feel?
Yes, exactly. It's like me with all the ornamentation and all the bells and whistles.
And that's what I feel like you were saying with that. That's what I was kind of like. I was going through some of your looks, bitch, and I picked out some of my favorites. And then when I picked out this look, I realized you did that fucking Nebula pageant, right?
Yeah.
Here, let me re-say that. I don't want to say fucking Nebula pageant. Okay, hold on. So you did the Nebula pageant, period, in San Angelo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, living. Okay, so this was one of my favorite looks from you. So how'd you come up with like the orange and the black and like all that shit?
Yeah, so it was our presentation. I believe the category was like punk,
you look sexy
grunge,
that's why I love. Bitch, I love that sexy bitch.
I love a sexy look.
Okay, don't play.
Very that.
Okay.
It's like, I feel like there's always an element of like sex and like pin up with Maggot, so I wanted to go for that kind of aesthetic and look, but also make it kind of punky and grungy. I really heavily associate Maggot with like kind of fetish, particularly with like the play piercing, but also with like some of just the interests in like latex and leather and like sexual lingerie, like the cross-dresser aesthetic. So I knew I wanted it to be kind of like pin-up and kind of fetishy. So I had a collar. I got this outfit from Pretty Perverse on Etsy. They're like
I love me some Etsy too.
Yeah.
They're kind of expensive though, bitch.
Okay,
like
expensive.
Like maybe. Like damn. Like, so did you do your hair for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
So
it's big, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, don't play. Come on, Poodle Puff.
Yeah.
Or what are they called? The dogs that are
Poodle.
Poodle.
Yeah.
They'll play. To you, Maggot, what is your most shocking performance to date? To you, what's your most shocking that you feel like you moved the audience with your performance? Cheers.
I have to think. Yeah.
Cheers. What you think, bitch?
For me, I think it was shocking in the sense that, like, I think any time that I do kind of play piercing and I'm removing needles and my face is bleeding, I think that, like, that is inherently kind of shocking to people.
Okay, so bitch, so tell me about that. The whole needle thing? Baby, hold on, cut, pause. This bitch over here sticking needles, fucking dildos, fucking everything. Like, baby, don't play. So how do you do that? Like, explain to me that art that you do when it comes to the whole needle thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's like derived from play piercing, the kind of like fetish of like piercing yourself with these needles and the kind of pain of the piercing, but also the kind of like visual and the kind of experience of the bleeding after the piercing as well. So I think I always had an interest in kind of like, there is like a pleasure and like a dopamine rush associated with any kind of piercing, cutting, anything of the sort. So I was hospitalized in 2019 and there was all kinds of like IV doing and like shots and everything, and so my kind of fear of this needle kind of subsided. Like,
so you play on it with your arm a little. Okay. Okay.
I think that for me it was originally this kind of like desire for that sensation, but kind of like a fear of doing it myself. Yeah. But then I think after that hospitalization, like there was kind of a realization.
It's almost like overcoming your fear type shit. Yeah. Like you can't fuck with me no more, bitch.
I can do it. It's not hard or complicated, and it's something that like derives pleasure in like a non-sexual way, in like a kind of a sensual way. So I became interested in it that way, and I had always envisioned Maggot like crying. So like for a long time the thing was like lines dripping from the eyes with like mascara, kind of like a mascara tear thing.
Cute.
And I liked it, but I thought it was a little like nail on the head and kind of basic. So when I started messing around with the kind of clay piercing, I thought about this idea of like her crying blood, like it's like this over dramatic gesture.
Baby, we need Satan's to yourself over here, bitch. We can't be. I feel you. Like you actually have like a meaning to your shit. You don't just go out there and you're like, hey guys, because you always be showing some skin. You always be showing that ass, bitch. Don't play. Don't play with that ass, bitch. How'd you get such a nice ass? Literally, like literally.
I need a lot
when
of
you
food.
Get your little surgery, can I have some of your injections, please? Because I need some.
The next morning.
Oh, I got some shit. Hold on. Oh, you're good.
Let me show you something.
Okay, so what's your favorite, like, show or, like, movie that you grew up on? Like, what made you you? What raised you as a child, bitch? Mine was, if you want to know what mine is, bitch, mine's Scooby-Doo, so don't play
I feel that. I could see that.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Call me Freddy, ho.
Oh, Freddy. I was going to say Daphne.
Same.
I think the first thing that I was introduced to was Twin Peaks. So, like, that show is, like, the fabric of Maggot. Like, Blue Velvet as well. That whole aesthetic of, like, he has these women who are, like, vintagey, but it's, like, not a specific time. It's kind of, like, a muddling of time periods. They're kind of, like, sexy, but they're also kind of, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, there's just something about the way that his movies depict women is, like... I saw that when I was young, and I was like, that's what I want to look like.
She said hi. So what do you use for your cheeks? What is this? I love it.
Yeah, so
And let's give a little side view. Can you move your hair so we can see that? God damn, bitch. Like, blind my ass. Hi. Okay, period. Okay, so how do you do that?
Yeah. Bitch? So I build it up depending on what kind of, like, tone of pink I want, because it's always a pink. But sometimes it's orangier, sometimes it's, like, more of a cool pink and the purpley.
It can vary, bitch.
So my whole thing in drag is I want to look like someone who's wearing makeup. I don't want to look like I'm not wearing makeup.
Love.
We'll leave it off. Yeah. I want to look like someone who's wearing...
get it. I want you, I got you.
There we go.
Because I want you to look your best.
Yeah, have the continuity.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get it.
If you need to look in the mirror, go check yourself.
I think it... Yeah, there we go. I love to cover my face in, like, a spackle kind of, like, thick makeup and then
Same.
powder it down even
Literally.
thicker.
Literally.
I think that
I want to be able to wake up the next morning if I sleep in my makeup. I want to see my skin cracking off. I want it to be like a mask where I can be like, you know what I mean? And that's sometimes what it is.
I've been real hungover the next day, and I've gone to the club in the makeup I was wearing from the night before because I just threw up all day and then touched it up and went to the club with the same makeup.
Baby.
Yeah, the brow cover for
I'm down.
48 hours.
She's down. Maggot's down. Shit. This bitch ain't playing over here. One thing I want to ask, what's your sign?
I'm an Aquarius.
You're an Aquarius? I'm a Scorpio.
Really?
Do we get along?
I imagine.
My dad's an Aquarius, so I mean we're cute. So I mean, I feel like we're like pretty. Are we water signs? We're both water signs.
Aquarius is air.
Oh, you're air. Oh.
It's the water bearer, but it's air.
Okay,
that doesn't make sense.
Okay, I feel like we're cute though. I feel like because like my least compatible is a Taurus, but I've met Tauruses who are like best friends.
It's like kind of the annoying sign.
I feel
people think it's like.
No, not annoying.
But I will
get
say,
along. Like you're so friendly. Hi, Scorpio meets Aquarius. What are your plans for the future? What do you want for drag? What are you willing to accomplish? What's the road paved for Maggot?
So I think that just moving forward with Maggot, like finding more time to kind of like bring things that are more theatrical and more kind of like prop and set oriented. Like I love that kind of theatrical aspect of drag, so I think that just pushing that more and more and more and like getting more and more dramatic.
What do you love to eat?
So my favorite in general is Italian food. I love pasta. I love cheese. Love. Anything of the sorts.
Love. Do you like macaroni and cheese?
Oh yes.
Oh,
anything with cheese.
Okay.
I'm a cheese fan. A noodle and a cheese is so good.
Love.
But I'll say when the club is done, usually by the time I'm like getting home-ish, it will be like McDonald's breakfast is starting to serve.
She said,
some like the
Little McGriddle action.
Oh yes, McGriddle with extra cheese.
I love
sausage and extra cheese.
Baby. What time is it, Maggot? Is it 4 right now?
Yeah.
Should we go get us a little McGriddle?
Yeah, get a little sausage burrito moment.
Well, hoes, me and Maggot are about to go get a little fucking McGriddle and shit. We're about to go to fucking McDonald's, baby. Get us some fucking breakfast. It is fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. We're tired, we're exhausted, and we're fucking done. So, Maggot, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Give me the biggest hug ever. Thank you so much. I love you. You slay. Continue to slay, bitch. We love you. Y'all give a round of applause for the one, the only Maggot. Yes. Come on, bitch. Anyways, Maggot, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Always. You're my sister forever. I love you. Mwah. Cute.
This thong is
shit,
so
she just
tried
not to. You're good. And my camera just died too. We ended that.
Ooh.
That was like perfect.
Ugh.
I know, my booty hurt too.
Oh, I feel you.
Ooh.